Hey everyone! On April 30th, we released The Breach, a huge content update for No Rest for the Wicked. We are incredibly proud of the content that we shipped and how The Breach expanded No Rest for the Wicked. But we did face some initial balance hiccups. Some fights were overtuned, some scaling wasn't quite right. But thanks to your feedback, we were able to identify the problems quickly and shipped 4 hotfixes right after launch to stabilize balance and clean up the rough edges. But while those fixes were going out, and while we are already hard at work on our multiplayer co-op update, we also wanted to perfect what we had started with The Breach. A full patch that directly responds to your requests, suggestions, and feedback. Today, I'm happy to show you what's coming for The Breach Refined. One of the most requested features was giving players more control over difficulty. So, we've decided to introduce realm tiers. You will now be able to choose between multiple difficulty settings for your realm, making Wicked more approachable for new players, while also offering an even greater challenge for those who want it. When creating a realm, players will now be able to choose their own path. The Path of the Torn makes things more forgiving. Enemy health and damage are tuned down, and combat is a bit more relaxed. Players who have always been struggling with No Rest for the Wicked ought to find the right experience for them right here. The Path of the Chosen is the experience you've come to know and love. It represents the challenge we think most players are seeking. The Path of the Unspoken is aimed to turn things up to 11. More aggressive enemies, and combat requires more of a dance with your foes. Your life will be harder, but in some ways also more rewarding. You'll be able to switch your tier at any time from the newly introduced Realms menu, so you're always in control of how tough your run should be. In our current live builds, utility runes like Damage Surge and Heal Aura had to be slotted into a weapon, which wasn't ideal. For The Breach Refined, you can now equip up to 4 utility runes directly on your character. So if you want to throw down a heal after a fight, or light up a pitch-black dungeon with Illuminate, you can now do that without first juggling your weapon loadout. It feels really simple and elegant. You will now also start with the heal rune equipped by default. This way, players can choose to heal either with focus or through consumables right away. We've also made some major changes to our fast travel mechanics. We are introducing Elder Whispers. These are your key travel hubs. You can fast travel between them freely. And if that still isn't enough for you, we are also introducing a whole new feature, Whisper Offerings. You can now make offerings at all non-Elder Whispers to unlock fast travel on those as well. And as you might imagine, we have a lot of things planned for Whisper Offerings, but we'll leave that for future content updates. We heard you, gems are rare, and nobody wants to lose one just because they changed gear. So in Breach Refined, you can now destroy and extract gems that you slotted into your gear. Destroying the gem will simply remove it from your item. Extracting the gem means you'll get the gem back, but on common and masterpiece gear, the item stays intact upon extraction. On magical, plagued, and unique gear, the item will break upon gem extraction. We think that's a fair trade, and it gives players way more freedom to swap builds without losing valuable upgrades. We have also added ledge protection. Yes, we've heard all of your complaints. You're out and about or deep inside the Crucible, you launch into a heavy attack and bam, you fling yourself off a cliff. Well, for Breach Refined, we took care of this issue. Your character will now always stop right before they'd fling themselves off ledges. Another common frustration was fall damage, so we've reduced fall damage overall. You still can survive a drop from 3 stories up, but you won't lose tons of health just for misjudging a ledge either. One of the more controversial changes in Breach was constraining ranged actions around focus. And yeah, we get it. Players wanted to play as archers or spellcasters without gating every shot behind a resource meter. So for Breach Refined, base spells and bows now use stamina again. Damage and range on these are tuned down a bit. Arrows now need to be charged to get the full effect. But overall, this brings back the fluidity and pacing you loved pre-Breach, while still keeping things balanced. And we have also improved combat responsiveness across the board. You can now change targets during attack windups, which makes fighting groups of enemies feel way more responsive. Especially when you're weaving between enemies and looking for openings. Another piece of feedback we got: hey, I climbed that ledge, dodged 2 traps, and got a single mushroom for all my trouble. Well, that's fixed. In this patch, we're tagging these hard-to-reach spots and making sure the loot matches the effort. Expect better gear, materials, and surprise finds. We also did a full pass on bounties and challenges. We added more variety and removed some stale or underused challenges. We studied how new players engaged with the Breach update and added new tutorials, revised early quests,
Empty stomach.
They told me to wait out here.
and introduced more context prompts. The idea is that you shouldn't need to tab out to a wiki just to understand how Wicked systems work. Gathering has always felt a bit flat, so we've spiced things up there as well. When farming a resource, you will now gain focus and experience, just like you would while fighting an enemy. And on top of that, we've added timing mechanics. Press the interact button the moment your tool hits the resource, and you'll get a bonus. More focus, more loot. Last but not least, storage quality of life. Every container in Wicked now comes with its own little carpet that features various logos. This ought to make it way simpler to quickly see where you're storing your resources, gear, cooking ingredients, and so on. So no more guessing which chest holds your resources and which one's got your food. And that about wraps it up. The Breach Refined is a massive response to your feedback, from utility runes and realm tiers to gem extraction and gathering improvements. This patch makes the rest for the Wicked smoother, more flexible, and more fun to explore. And what we've shown so far was only the tip of the iceberg. We're continuing to listen, and your feedback keeps making Wicked better and better. Let us know how these changes feel, and stay tuned for even more coming down the line. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back in your Solar Sacra.